Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Reverend Melinda Wood Allen. I'm very glad to be with you on this not glad occasion, but we are going to make this a celebration of a life well lived and not just a mourning of a life gone. We're here to remember and to celebrate and acknowledge the passing also of Randie Kindle, and I know that everyone here loved Randie, was blessed by him in your life, and I know that he loved you, and you are a testament here to the number of lives he touched. And I am certain that his essence is here today in this gathering of family and friends. He wouldn't have missed it. Shall we pray? Divine Presence, God of love, we thank you for bringing us together here to love and support each other as we celebrate the life and mourn the loss of Randie, beloved husband, brother, uncle, cousin, cherished friend. We know that life is eternal, and yet we cannot help grieving the death of the body that has been the earthly container for his beloved spirit. God, we ask that all gathered here may feel your presence today, that we may be filled with your love. Let that love comfort us and allow us to comfort each other. In the coming days and months, may we take solace in the knowledge of how beautifully and fully Randie lived, and how well he loved and was loved in this life. And so it is. Amen. Randie Kindle peacefully passed away on January 21st, 2026 at home after a brief illness. He will always be remembered as a kind, loving, and peaceful husband, brother, uncle, cousin, friend, and a guiding light to all that knew and loved him. He was born on April 2nd, 1963 in Sedalia, Missouri, to the late Thomas Riley Kindle and Ruth Kindle, née Elkins. Randie was a true gift of light and love in life and even after. Those who were fortunate enough to circle in his orbit can attest to his positivity, his creativity, his love of dance, and zest for life as a true testament for the many ways in which he will be remembered. He was a professional and glamorous cosmetologist, successfully running his Salon Kindle and Company, formerly Salon Kindle, in the Dallas area for many decades. His work was not just professional for him, but deeply personal. He formed many special friendships with his clients throughout the years. I know many of you are here. Before becoming a cosmetologist, Randie was a professional dancer. He created many special performances throughout the years, forming unbreakable bonds of friendship with many in the community. He also passionately loved all animals, especially his 3 dogs, Drew, Abby, and Chance. Randie is survived by his beloved husband, Adu, of Richardson, Texas. He also cherished the relationships he had with his brother Jim and partner Lena of Midlothian, his sister Lisa and her husband Ken of Whitesboro, Greg Kindle of Weaverville, North Carolina. He's also survived by loving nieces and nephews and wonderful cousins and cherished friends all across the world. You are truly welcome here. I'm glad that you're here today. And now I would like to, because I only had the privilege of meeting Randie a couple of times, even though I was taken, as many of you were, I'm sure, the first time you met him, by his smile and his exuberant, loving presence. Today, we're going to have the people, several of the people who knew and loved him, speak of their experience of Randie. So I'd like to first invite up Tanner Luce, and I'm going to say if I invite you up to the platform, please use these stairs. It's a lot safer to come through the sides than to try to come straight forward. So Tanner, would you please come and give us your remembrance to celebrate the remarkable life of Randie.
Hi, y'all. Look at all y'all's beautiful faces here today. So I've always been a bit of a wordsmith, and this one has really stumped me on what to say and how to speak of Randie. Anyone that has known him, you were a friend to him. You knew within the first 5 minutes of meeting him if y'all were going to be friends. And I can tell by all of y'all here today, all the tears and all the laughter that we've already heard today, that he loved each and every one of y'all. My phone decided to lock, so I'm not really sure what to say for the next minute till it unlocks and I can get what I had written down. But I was going to start off with a famous quote by King Henry VIII to his wives. It was, "I won't keep you here long." So my phone's opened back up, so I can finally read it. It's a poem by Helen Rice, and it goes, "Friendship is a golden chain. The links are friends so dear, the like a rare and precious jewel. It's treasured more each year. It's clasped together firmly with love that's deep and true. It's rich with love and memories and fond recollections too. Time can't destroy its beauty, for as long as memories live, years can't erase the pleasures that the joy of friendship gives. For friendship is a priceless gift that can't be bought or sold. But to have an understanding friend is worth far more than gold. The golden chains of friendship is a blessed tie, binding kindred hearts together as the years go passing by." I want to thank y'all all for being here to celebrate the life of Randie, and thank you guys so much. The next person that will be coming up to share a little bit more remembrance will be Tommy Kindle. So wherever Tommy is, you're more than welcome to come up and use the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy Kindle. I am Randie's oldest nephew. I am the son of Jim Kindle, his oldest brother. I don't have much of a speech. I got cards with some talking points on there. It's about how I am. I like to be authentic, and I believe that's how we all remember Randie, as being authentic and original. So this may be hard, it may be some laughter, and maybe some tears, but Randie, parents, Tom and Ruth, were great people. Randie loved them both. His brothers, Jim and Greg, he loved as much as, and his sister Lisa, and we've had many talks about all three of you all, and through thick and thin, he never wavered on his love and support for any of you. So remember that in the days going forward. Randie never had kids of his own. He had his fur babies, of course, but never had his own children. So he took it upon himself to really show his love and affection towards his nieces and nephews, to which there were many. Overwhelmingly boys, but he was never one to shy away from supporting any of us at any given time. He had 7 nephews and 4 nieces. He had 5 great nephews and 2 great nieces, and he's been an inspiration to all of them, including my own children, who are homesick today and unable to come, but they thought the world of him. Randie grew up in Sedalia, graduated there, small town in mid-Missouri, but it's a so the state fair is, so there's some happenings there. He used to have a lot of fun running around there, and I remember him and my dad and my mom even worked at a place in Sedalia called Fireside. And I remember going up there and Randie taking me up to the back of the kitchen. Just one of those things, just he did. I remember Randie cutting my hair clear back as far as when I was living in Sedalia still as a little kid, and in my grandma's kitchen in her sink. And to him, working in the Oxy, where I got to meet several of his friends, Becky being one of them, who I always thought very highly of, to him doing my first time he dyed my hair. I was canary blonde. Albeit I lived in a small Missouri town of 360 people. Imagine going back to that at 16 years old, and there I am, bright blonde. I caught a lot of flack for that. But he did it again, and somehow I let him do it. So I sometimes was his guinea pig on when I'd come down to visit. I'd get sat in his chair, and it was never what I wanted. It's what he wanted to try. So coincidentally, I was voted best hair in high school, so maybe it all worked out. I don't seem to have any now, as we can tell. But he was great. He always wanted his own salon, and he had Salon Kindle over by the airport. Many of us probably ventured there, probably watched the fireworks from his parking lot several times over there. But his dream was what he wound up having, which was Kindle and Company, which was a beautiful salon, something he always wanted, and I'm glad he was able to achieve that. Randie loved traveling. He traveled all over the world, whether it was cruises or resorts. He loved taking his mom. He took her all over the place with him. He took me graciously to Mexico one time with him when I was in 8th grade. And I've told this story before, but I'll never forget. It was a trip full of adventure. Before we even left Texas, my grandma already tripped in a basket at the local Tom Thumb and slipped and slid and fell everywhere, which then, as we get to the hotel, she misses a step and flies forward, and her glasses go flying across the hotel lobby to us being in the ocean. And I remember we're out there wading away, and Grandma's out there, and she falls to a wave, and Randie and Aunt Lisa go pick her up, and she's like, my glasses! So they drop her back in the ocean, waves crashing over her head. So we looked in that ocean for a good 5 or 10 minutes, never did find her glasses, and finally she's like, well, I got another pair. And we're like, are you serious? But anyway, Randie was great about taking places. We took a trip to Tennessee with Greg, and Jason and Greg came out there as well and had a great time. And on the very first day, what does Randie do? In typical Randie fashion, he trips and sprains his foot. So he's in a crutch for pretty much the entire weekend. And there was about 185 steps down to the dock, but he toughed it out all weekend. One of the last trips I remember taking with Randie, actually he met me in Missouri at Kansas City, and Tanner was there with that. He met me and my wife, and we had a St. Patty's Day trip in Kansas City, and it was memorable, to say the least. Huh, Tanner? They have a story before they even got there that I will not enlighten you of, but Tanner, if he would like to share that, he can share, but it was a great time. I remember Randie was always an animal lover. I remember Cody Dog. If you remember his little schnauzer, raise your hand. I remember Cody Dog. Great dog. And he had probably the fattest cat I've ever seen when I was a teenager. His name was Bobby, I believe, right, Greg? The black cat. Must have been a 20, 25-pound cat. And Randie, I remember he had a 6-foot fence in his yard, and the cat would just stare at it. He would stare at it. And eventually, he would stare at it long enough, and he could jump it, and he would clear that fence. Not sure how to this day. But if you were a friend of Randie, if you ever met Randie and he ever let you in, you were blessed. And I think we all know that, because if he let you in, you were somebody special to him. And he never wavered on that for any of us. His house was always open. His pool was always open. Many of us probably attended his pool parties, maybe his New Year's Eve parties. They were always great, always fun. He always had a room for anybody who needed a place to stay. You know, he was always willing to share his opinion with you, whether you wanted to hear it or not. But that's because it was always came from a great place, and that was love. And we were all blessed to have had him as a part of our life. He was always great with me and my siblings. He would come and pick me up any given time, and let's go to Six Flags. Let's go ride go-karts. Never had to ask. Just he would want to come do that for us. There was a trip one time we was going to Missouri, and we broke down 3 times, once there, twice coming back. He still did it. He still did it. He taught me a lot of things. He encouraged me a lot. I remember one trip, I wasn't even 16 yet. Greg and Randie were at the famous Margarita Ball, and Grandma was wanting to come down really bad, and they decided that it was good enough for me to load up in Sedalia, Missouri at all of 15 and drive my grandma down to meet them in McAlester, Oklahoma. My mom, still to this day, I don't think, well, if she's watching, she's learning this now, that I hopped in the car at 15 and drove her to McAlester, and we did it. But he had that kind of faith in people, and he had that kind of belief in people. And we all probably have stories similar to that where he made us feel strong. He made us feel good. But Randie, if any of us that know him remember that his mother was his light. He loved his mom so much and took her everywhere he could. And when he lost her, he lost a piece of himself. And it changed him as it would expect it would change any of us. But I feel like he found that support again in Adu. He spoke of Adu a lot over the last couple of years, and I was very glad Adu was finally able to make it here. He loved you very much, Adu. I'm glad you were part of his life. Any of us who have met him again are special, privileged, and to all the Kindles that are out here, part of the family, this is to you all. We have spoke about getting together and getting together and getting together. We need to get together in a time of celebration. So that's all I have. Thank you. And next up was...
Thank you. Thank you. And so Andrea and Candy.
We go. Let me turn this around.
You know, I just want to say, Randie would love this.
Yeah. We're here on
This is why
behalf.
he got stuck with me as a
That's it.
dance partner.
We are here on behalf of the dance community that so loved Randie. But first, it's my honor to read a passage from the Children of the Light from Reverend Kay. All of life is a gift. Celebrate that gift daily in every aspect of life's unfolding. Feel God's grace filling your very soul with the joy of all you have accomplished. We rejoice with you as you continue the spiritual path you have chosen. Your vision is fulfilling itself through the hearts of all who are learning to love themselves as God loves you. Celebrate, sing. Let the music of your heart chase away all the clouds of doubt and expectation. You are a blessing to the world. Know that and be glad. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, I'm going to go first, and then Candy's going to speak. I had to write it down because I didn't think I'd get through this without it. I first met Randie, like many of you did, in the salon. That was about 40 years ago. I remember liking him right away. We chatted about my broken foot and his desire to learn how to dance. And in Randie fashion, he was true to his word and he started coming to class, and he quickly mastered the art. I'm not even sure I met anyone who goes all in quite like Randie, but I saw this pattern repeat itself several times over the years. First, it was candles. Does everybody remember the candles? And then it was hair products, and then it was Pilates, his diet, and his exercise program. He always gave it his all. But he also brought things to us in tenfold. He introduced me to the Conversations with God, as did Mickey, and the Course in Miracles. And he shared with me his beloved Reverend K when I desperately needed the guidance. Okay, so this is the funny part. So we even had a pact that if we were still single by 40, that we would marry and have children. Now that's a true story. I don't know who else he promised that to, but he definitely promised it to me. Though he was a little less excited when I told him he would have to get me pregnant the old-fashioned way. That's also a true story. Lucky for him, Mike showed up just in time, so he got out of that one. They say your hairdresser knows all your secrets, and that's probably true. Randie knew all my deepest thoughts, but he was more than a good listener. He was a great friend. When I felt forgotten, he made me feel seen. When I felt weak, he made me feel strong. And when I felt unattractive, he made me feel beautiful. A good hairdresser can give you a new look, but a great hairdresser can transform you into a better version of yourself. That's what Randie did. He quietly encouraged you to match his vibration of love and light, never speaking negative of anyone or anything. So I could not have been happier for him when he found a true partner in Adu. Someone that could match his unwavering love and loyalty. Adu, I'm so grateful he had you in his life these past few years, and I hope you know how much he loves you and love that you called him my love. It was so calming for him. You gave him what he gave so many of us, a place to be seen, cared for, and loved. All I can say is I've never been so grateful for my gray hair because it gave me the wonderful opportunity to visit with my dear friend every 7 weeks, whether he wanted to see me or not. This world will not be the same without him, but I will do my best to keep him close to my heart. And anytime he asks me to take a walk to the park, I'm gonna go.
I'm not exactly the organized one. I don't even feel worthy being up here. I've never deserved Randie, his friendship. And I'm so grateful I got to talk today, but I want you to know I don't deserve it. I said to Mickey and Andrea, I said, I can't imagine this world without Randie. I thought he would just always be here because this world needs him, and he's a light. I was looking at my phone to look at some just text messages over the years. We've gone back and forth, and I have a star by his name because he was our light. He was born, I think he knew it, with this gift and mission to take care of the world. I loved seeing life through his eyes and his words and his actions. He made me realize there is spirituality and spiritual meaning in a tree, in a bird, and a gust of wind. I loved sharing our faith and our spirituality. It meant so much to me. We became kindred spirits right away when we met through dance 40 years ago. And through our dance family, little did we know God was bringing us together for life. And Randie and I were such kindred spirits in so many ways, especially attention deficit disorder. You can imagine the two of us together. He was like, I don't know where we got the term evil twin. We were each other's evil twins, like other half, but not evil in a bad way. More of, we can get away with stuff, we can get away with it. Like we did Mickey's class when we were doing our dance final. I said, Randie, it's the holidays. Let's dress up like elves. And he went right with it. I'm like, wow, that was easy. Well, it didn't work out. Let's just say it didn't exactly work out like we thought. And a week later, Mickey said, Randie, Candy, I think y'all weren't that organized, so you're gonna have to give you an F. And Randie and I looked at each other, an F for fabulous. Of course, Mickey was like, I give up. And we still remind her today. But we met through dance, but then we just became like, he was my brother, except he had better legs, better chest, and better hair. I said, Randie, do you know what it's like taking a photo with you? It's not fun. Can you mess yourself up? I would try. Didn't work. He looked better. I'm so grateful, though, to be here and represent a little bit of who he was. I don't know that I can actually get that across. I know everybody in this room knows, because everybody knows that he was a light, a mentor. He got me through so many ups and downs, a very difficult first marriage, but he said, but Candy, that's God. Some people have the pathway like this. Some have it this way. And he was right, because I got to meet the love of my life, Dan. And Randie was so happy for me and celebrated. I'm so glad he found you and y'all found each other, because everything was meant to be. And I know that you were the love of his life and he was the love of your life. And I just want to finish by saying, no matter what, I promise you, Randie, I'm going to do every single day. I'm going to try to keep spreading Randie's love, his words, his care for everybody, people he didn't know, people he knew. I'm so proud and honored that I got to be his friend and his family. I love you, Randie. I'll miss you every day.
Now I'd like to invite up Trenton Kindle.
So I didn't really have a proper speech wrote out. I believe everyone in this room knows who my uncle was and what he meant to every one of us personally, and the amount that he was willing to go through to do, just to take care of and provide for, and just be there for you no matter what it was, no matter what story you told him, no matter what you needed, he was always there. I mean, I don't want to really ponder too much on the thoughts about what we all know about how and who he was. You know, like I'm thinking more specifically like how when the parties we'd have at his house and taking him to Waffle House for the first time. And he just thought the whole concept behind it was so wild. And this wasn't even like 10, 20 years ago. This was like 2 years ago. Never going to Waffle House was just a wild concept, you know. And that's, you know, just as everyone else has already said as well, that's how he was. He was always just there to go and live in the moment. And it didn't matter what it was, he would do it. And that's what really made him stand out more so than what I feel like a lot of people in this room are used to. You know, and he wouldn't put it past himself to help me or my brothers through anything. Like, he took my middle brother, Aiden, to New York for graduation, you know. Not really something that you just kind of just whimsically throw around and help aid and support those around you with. He was really special in that way, and it really sucks that I'm not out here as much as I wanted to be in the past few years, and so I didn't get a lot of chance to see him in the past year. And that really sucks. And no matter what it is that we all think or believe that where he is and what he's doing, I think we can all agree that regardless of what it is, where he needs to be to help and guide us further from there. He was very important in my life. And I'm not really good at these whole things or this public speaking thing, so I'm just glad who he was and that I had him in my life and that he was able to connect and share with as many people as he did in this room. And that, I mean, that's it. There's nothing more I feel like you can really add on that. He was one of the best people.
And now I'd like to invite up Jason.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to start with a reading from Children of the Light by Reverend Kay. Once it was said unto you, go in peace, thy faith hath made thee whole. We say unto you today, look at that which you have faith in. Trust that faith to bring the wholeness that you seek, and you will indeed know the peace of God within you. There is an immutable law that works in your life. It is the law of cause and effect, the law of the words, it is done unto you as you believe. It is so difficult to understand, children of the light, that what you put out into this you call life is exactly what you get back. It is the thinking through love or fear that determines how you view a thing, love or fear. Where have you placed your faith? When you live in love, you live the will of God, and all that is draws itself into your experience for you to love. So it is with love's opposite, fear. Do not allow the things in your world to overwhelm you. Be at peace, knowing your faith hath made thee whole. After we lost Randie, we were going through some of his things at home, and we found this book in particular, or I should say that I did, and that page was marked. And that marks my relationship with Randie, because he and I were always doing this. Me choosing to live in fear, Randie choosing to live in love. So I would like to share with you my thoughts on my favorite cousin, Randie. Thank you for the gift of your presence today. We are gathered to celebrate the life and legacy of our beloved Randie. How can the larger-than-life energy that was Randie Kindle be summarized into words? Quite simply, it can't. But I'm going to try my best to pay tribute to a man who meant so much to many. Greg, my husband, and I had the honor to spend a significant amount of time with Randie these last few months as Randie navigated his illness. And he did so with courage, frenetic energy, a lot of humor, even in the face of uncertainty. Randie and I had a special relationship. We could go months without talking and years without seeing each other, but never skipped a beat when we had the chance to reconnect. Greg and I had the opportunity to ask Randie to speak at our wedding a couple of years ago. Without hesitation, he agreed, not knowing what he was agreeing to. When being introduced to speak, he was introduced as my cousin and quickly corrected our reverend that he was my favorite cousin. And in true Randie fashion, read something without preparation and without skipping a beat. And I do have to add that there is the universe's time and there is Randie's time. And today I have been on Randie's time, so forgive me if my words are rushed and out of order. Personally, it has been a season of loss the past year or so. Our family lost my beloved grandma, Randie's aunt, in July. To put that in perspective, Randie and I are second cousins. He will always be 11 years older. Randie immediately reached out upon asking how I was doing. And quite simply, I was devastated, and I told him she was my biggest ally. He immediately responded that he was now my biggest ally, which I did not expect. As members of the LGBTQ+ community, we understand what it means to show up for each other with intention and purpose. Being an ally is a chosen path, one that Randie always welcomed. When Greg and I visited Randie in November after his diagnosis, I told him I wasn't ready to be the elder gay of the family. And he agreed I wasn't ready. As the new elder gay of the family, I say this: if you ever feel unseen, unheard, or you just need to bend an ear, I'm here for you. No questions asked. I can't say that I will be the calm ship that Randie steered throughout his life, but my door is always open to help the best way I can for anyone who needs it. Randie and I could not have been more different in our terms of personality. I was the skepticism to his optimism, the realist attempting to ground his light. It was through this relationship of being opposite that we thrived, often challenging each other with our beliefs. I would be remiss to mention that Randie was an ordained minister, something I found that I didn't always find a positive aspect in his life. I didn't realize the many ways that it changed me for the better. He balanced my darkness with his light. He always chose love over my fear and helped me navigate from a better perspective. This is something that I hope we all take from the beacon of light that Randie is. His last few weeks on this side of life were punctuated with doubt and fear, but his humor always shined through. When he entered hospice care after a particularly brutal round of treatment, even then he had jokes. The hospice social worker came to meet with us when admitting him into their care. She was talking about the history of the company and how they have been around for 91 years. After she said this, Randie turned his head, looked at me, and calmly said, "Jason, you remember 91 years ago." To say that that comment caught me off guard is an understatement, but it's true to his disarming sense of humor. As we navigate this life moving forward without Randie's physical presence, I hope we hold on to the love that he gave all of us. We talked a lot about his fears these last few weeks, but we also talked about how he wanted to be remembered. He did not want this moment to be sad. He wanted us to celebrate. And I encourage all of us to honor his wishes, as hard as that may seem. To everyone listening and watching, whether in person or online, it is my prayer and wish that we all choose kindness, grace, and empathy over sadness and loss. Randie wanted this for all of us. Our grief is great, but please be keenly aware that grief is unique for all of us. Not all of our journeys will look the same. Thank you.